be there when you're dreaming.
Welcome back to Life in Style. This is Us. It's that segment where we talk to couples, people who are in love and married, not just people who are in love. Because sometimes people ask me, can engaged people come to This Is Us? No, this one is for, in particular, for people who are married and they want to share their story, their victories, their triumphs, their tests, their trials. And today I'm privileged to have Anne and Edwin Shivos. They call themselves the Shivos. That's right, right? Yeah, who have been married for 6 years, going into 7. And in our day, if you've done more than 3 or 5, you're doing well. So we want to hear, their story. Remember, you should follow us, and you could follow us on at KTN_Life_ for both Twitter and Instagram, KTN Life and Style for Facebook, and of course even myself at CJ Atemo. Welcome to the show. Good to have you. Six years plus, going into 7 years. How has that been for you?
Wow. You can start.
Always the ladies are the ones who have these memories, But all in all, it has been special for us, and we have really enjoyed our time together. When we look back, we say that for me personally as Edwin, I could say that I made the right choice and decision to get married to Anne.
Wow. I wish I had started, so now it's a bar now. Yeah, I also made the right decision, but I can say it's been a roller coaster. We've had our highs, our really lows, and fun times, and I think I credit it to having accountability people. We have a very awesome mentor couple. They literally beat us back. Sometimes you're like, it's been real. We've done this. Sini sawa. Then they tell us, you got into this, not to do anything else. There's no escape rate. Okay. Yeah.
Well, before I get into the highs and lows, I need to let you know that we are coming to you from the hub in Karen. The sound of the waters behind me. You can come here, hang out with your children, hang out with your family, have the breeze and the ambience around, and just have fun over here. The highs and lows, Edwin. What were the greatest adjustments? When people talk about the highs and lows, mostly it's just the adjustments that you've got to make, right? Yes. What are the greatest adjustments from the point of, and I'll take you back to where you met, but what are the greatest adjustments that you made from the point of courtship and into marriage now?
It has to do with, our worldviews are different. She grew up in Nairobi, partly in Kitui. I grew up, Western Kenya. And so coming from all those different backgrounds, there is a perception that we all have. I have this perception, and there are things that, as a husband, this is what you expect of a wife. And even for her as a wife, this is what you expect from her husband. So over time, we had to unlearn some things and learn, come and have now a common culture for our marriage. So over time, we have been building on that, and that's what we're also trying to pass on to our children, not for them to, see me as my dad is coming from Western, my mom is coming from Kitui also. We are understanding that we are all, children of God, and we are one.
Did the background thing, how was the effect of the background? Not necessarily like the ethnic background, but the fact that Edwin was coming from upcountry, if I may call it, and then you're a city person. Yeah.
Well, for me, like what you say in upbringing, there are some things that are a culture shock. The things that you expect that a lady is supposed to do and a gentleman is supposed to do. And from the way he grew up, from the way I grew up, is totally different. And well, I can say one is like the duties. I remember when we were courting, was it even dating? I was courting. Yeah. When we were courting, he found someone doing my clothes. And I think that was the first conflict we had. Like, you don't wash your clothes. I'm like, they are clean, For him,
Bottom line.
yeah, bottom line, they're clean. Yeah, so a few things here and there that he would find it should be done like this. For me, I also thought this should be done like this. There are some things my father-in-law, I would find him doing, and I'm like, yeah, even dads can do this, you know? And the same way he finds in my family. So there are things we've had to unlearn, like he's saying, and others learning in the job.
Were you looking for a traditional wife? In quotes, you know, were you looking for this traditional wife, in quotes? The one who washes, cleans, does the chores, cooks, a homemaker?
And kneels down when you come in.
Before then, that could be, you could say, the bare minimum that you are looking for, you know, as a man. But, you know, over time, I just came to appreciate that there are things which my wife, you know, she's able to do, and, you know, confidently and well enough, and there are things which it's impossible. So, as we complement each other, instead of me trying to force, you know, her to ensure that she does 1, 2, 3, I have to do it.
Okay, but what are those things that, even as you're making adjustments, what are those things that you still held on to, like these are non-negotiables? Or you had to negotiate
Can you
everything?
imagine, to date, he has an issue with a bag that's not zipped. I'm like, I'm not outside there where it would be marked, but, you know, zip the bag. So it's actually a point of conflict sometimes.
Right.
But there is one of a very good friend of ours, couple, told us that you should choose your battle, choose your fights, as in not everything has to be a fight. So, yeah.
Okay, I think one of the things is like even in the preparing of meals, we can be able to prepare certain meals, and I've had to appreciate also meals from their, you know, back at home, and them the way and the rest.
Actually, talking about that, so when we
Putting on the spot.
yeah, no, I just want to go there because, so when it comes to like different cultures in terms of food, so who is supposed to have the final say when there is an intermarriage? So who's supposed to have the final say? Because you have people who say, you know, she's not cooking to how I want, but then she feels that this is how we cook, and it is pleasant to her. Who's supposed to have the final say on how the food is? Is the meal the preserve of the man?
I don't know. What do you think? For me, I know there is. Thank God he doesn't like ugali so much, and tea, and where it's supposed to be like a default from where he comes from. So at least
The
we never
elders will gather after this.
ugali.
The elders will
I know.
gather. He's just
The elders.
disowned.
I know,
He's just
I know.
disowned these people, right?
Yeah. So and he loves chapatis, which I know how to make. After we got married, and because now would visit home and some of his relatives, and ugali would always be on the table, and I had to learn to eat it. I never used to like eating ugali a lot, but nowadays I think I'm more westernized than he is. So yeah, before we got our children, if there is ugali that you ever ate in our house, it was made by my husband. But any other food I would make, because then you'll make something and he'll just look. I think there is a day I made ugali and he ate with Thanksgiving. But I also ate with Thanksgiving, but I was like, enyewe hapa ninamsumbua. So instead of kusumbuana, let's know what you do best.
Has that ever been an issue, you know, like when you're dealing with relatives who come in or who visit, or you go to visit your relatives? Has that ever been an issue? Was it an issue at some point before that she did not know how to make ugali at the beginning? Was that an issue at some point? Even if not from you, but from other people?
No, I haven't. For the last 6 years, I haven't seen it's an issue. Because again, when you visit, we have, you know, the right to decide which kind of meal we want to prepare. You can't dictate because the home belongs to her. If that's what she chooses to prepare and serve us, we'll receive it.
You know, there's that saying that, you know, people from Western, you give them rice, they say they've slept hungry.
He loves rice. As in, he's such a think westernized
Okay.
guys.
But over time, like one of the things, just like I said earlier, to learn, even in the food, there are those new tests which you can be able to pick it up. So we can't really narrow and limit just ourselves to specific kind of meal. Like she said, I love chapatis, and let's see, once in a day. I can do, over and over, having tea every other time. But all in all, I want to owe it, to my wife. She's been a great, support. She's been covering me as I cover her, and we're getting on.
All right. And you talked about, developing a new culture, and I know that even 6 years is not enough to completely get it, because people keep on, you keep on making adjustments all the way, even those who are 20 years in marriage, 25, because there are always new things that people are facing, people are growing. But I want to go back to the beginning. You said you didn't date, you courted. What do you mean?
Okay, his version, maybe you can go.
And there's always two versions.
Yeah, there. His version is we fellowship at Sitamburuburu, so we had a youth organized hike, and I was part of the organizers. And he was just like any other attendee, so I didn't notice him because I was up and down. But he says that was the time he really noticed me. So yeah, for me, I remember now having to. One of our friends lost the sister. Was it your sister? Yeah. So the way you will go and visit, we rallied people to come, and for some reason, no one else was available. It was a weekday, so me and him met up in town. We took a mat and went to visit. But I remember on when we were shopping, the way you pick a few things so that you can take to the home. He was a bit clingy, and I was like, dude, sikujui hivo, I'm like, yeah. So he'd be like, you want soda? I'm like, no, but I can take. I picked, it was a morning dew. Yeah, Mountain Dew. I'd been introduced by my nephew, so I picked. Then he said, oh, even me, I'll pick that. I'm like, okay. So I think I picked ice cream on my way out. He picked the same flavor. I was like, okay, now this is becoming difficult and really weird. Like, this guy needs to have a life, I would see him in church. He used to be well polished. So for me, I used to think, this married guy always happens to be a place where we are with my friends. We are in a Kakamkunji. He'd always show up. Like, like, and he was the last person I thought I'd ever date.
And for me, basically when I approached her, I just told her, I'm looking for a wife. And so if it's a yes, then we proceed on. Growing up in that generation and time when you say that you need to try, you need to test and see if truly she's the one, I don't think, for our case it was different. When I met her and I told her, I'm looking for a wife, and if you're the one, then 1 year from now, we need to be getting married.
Was that a cultural thing for you? Was it a spiritual thing for you, or was it a personality thing?
I could say it was more of, after I used to pray a lot, and I used to pray and asking God to guide me, to the right lady who I can be able to settle down as my wife. And when I found peace, that she is the one,
Where did you find this peace?
I know, right? And there's a point, I think we were on phone with him, and he was back at home, and with a pastor friend of ours, actually the one who spoke in our wedding. And he's like, yeah, he's been asking me when I'm getting married. I'm like, yeah, when you get married, I really have to come for your wedding because I love attending weddings. So I remember telling him, yeah. When you're getting married, please don't forget to tell me about your wedding. I have to attend that wedding.
And you actually did.
Yeah.
He told you, and you attended.
So I could say it was a cultural thing because, you know, wasting each other's time. I came from that background whereby I didn't see the need to, you know, we just go around in circle. If it hit the target, just hit the target.
Do you think, and that's why I asked that, do you think that if he was raised and bred in the city, he would have had that same kind of thinking?
I think it was actually a shock for me. I think I accepted out of shock. It's like there are people who just say, you know, and I was at a point where I was not ready for a relationship. So even when we were talking with him, I would say anything and everything because he was not someone I was looking at, you know. He was not in the radar. Yeah, he was not in, you know, the tall, dark, handsome, you know, all those, you know, lists and all that.
He may not have been tall, but at least he was dark.
Yeah, and he's handsome. He's handsome. But I think I never used to notice all those. And for me, I would tell, you know, he was asking me, are you dating? I'm like, yeah, I'm so into celibacy. So, Mimi, nina support watu. In fact, when you're getting, that's when I told him, when you're getting married, please tell me. I'll come for your wedding.
Right.
Yeah. And he would, actually, the other thing that was creepy is that I would be seated and maybe going through something, and he would send a scripture, and it would speak to me. I was like, eh? Like, the guy up there, what are you trying to tell me about this? So, yeah.
You know, a lot of young ladies today, you talk to them and they insist on two things. They say there needs to be chemistry. When you find most of the young ladies who are single and they tell you why they're not married or why they don't think they have found anybody. Sometimes they'll say, you know, nobody has come. But the truth is there will be several people who have come in. And then they will talk about chemistry. Then they say, you know, we first have to be friends. Was that the case for you? Well, was there anything called chemistry? If there is anything like that? And was there this thing that, you know, we've got to be friends first and find out whether we can relate?
Well, there was the friendship, because one of the youth guys in our church, he was a friend in that aspect. So we would hang out in that aspect. And, of course, the prayer part and all that. And when he was asking me out, I remember him saying, we have to build on this friendship, and even if things don't work out, let's stick to this friendship. So I think it was a safe place for me. I was like, okay, fine, he's a buddy that I'm dating and I can depend on. So yeah, I don't know for you whether that friendship was there.
The friendship aspect, like I mentioned to you, I know that we're gonna build it up. Because having to approach you and just tell you, I'm looking for a wife, and here you are, you accepted, and over time we've been building, and then we found some things that, you know, connect us together, things, values that, you know, we all appreciate, you know, and we've been friends, let me say so. Through now, 6 years now, there are things, you know, as a friend, what she has done, what we have done for each other, we could say it's only for a friend.
No, you know, talking about that, so Anne seems to be the free-spirited person. Yeah. You know, she's a free-spirited person, you know, wants to be easygoing and all of that. Then, Edwin, you look like the reserved guy, you know, you're the chilled-out guy or something. So there's friendship. There was friendship. In friendship, then, she says she could just talk to you about anything. So she could come to you and say, you know what, see this guy's trying to hit on me and something like that. Now,
yeah, I did that.
Now you come into a relationship and she's looking at this man. He's so serious, man. He's sending scriptures and stuff like that.
Yeah, and in suits in church. Who wears in suits in church apart from pastors and, you know, married, serious men of God?
Did your friendship get affected now by the commitment of courtship? Did it get affected? Were there things now you started feeling like, oh my God, did you say some things and then he gave you a look and you got to know, all right, now I can no longer talk about this?
Yeah, I think at some point I was like, hey, now this is becoming difficult, because I remember him telling me I really want to meet your family. I'm like, hey, guy, go easy. And then there was a function at our home. And just like that, he showed up, told me we are going. And I'm here. And then we were with other friends. So I also didn't want to cause a scene. I'm like, okay, you've traveled all the way, because he was far. He traveled all the way, said he's coming for this function, and we have to go. So there's that part. And I think also in courting and in marriage, that's when you get to know you're not what you think you are. You think you're a nice person and all that. Then you get to know you're selfish. Then you get to know you're not patient. And with time, I can't say we are there yet. We are not the power couple, that the perfect one.
No, there's no power couple. I tell people all the time, there's no power couple,
Yeah, because sometimes
those coinages, they put people under pressure.
Yeah.
They put people under unnecessary pressure.
Exactly.
So there's no power couple.
Exactly.
Every couple just works out their own stuff.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And like, just to even go up, off the other aspect of friendship and stuff, for us as our marriage, like, to get you back to where I mentioned about culture. And then the culture itself, we are looking at, there's a race that we are running for us as a couple. So our race is different, and we do not want to be in any competition there. And what works for us,
We do us.
we do what works for us. We don't want to please anyone, and we don't want to overstretch ourselves just to be able to have this a perception that this is how marriage is. We've been real with so many people we've been working with. We are so real with even our relatives and our parents. We thank God we have both of our parents. And there are times that we just tell them as it is, because sometimes there could be expectations. And if you're not able to, manage those expectations, then you can be forced to go to levels where you are deceiving. You want to show a perception that is not right.
All right. So I still get back to the friendship and into the relationship, because sometimes there's certain aspects that are lost. We talked about adjustments before, but mostly cultural. So for example, if you're an outgoing person, did you ever hear something, not even just from Edwin, but from anybody else now, even probably around the church community, people say, now you're a married woman, you need to conduct yourself?
No, I still get that a lot. Like, Ujawai change. I'm like, Nimesha change. I'm a mother now. I have changed. But yeah, there's one thing I think we said that we will not lose ourselves. Yes, I'm a mother. No, first I'm born again, then I'm a wife, and I'm a mother. So before all these things even came in, I was still a child of God. There's that child in me. And I don't want to lose myself, but of course there are seasons. There are seasons, I think, in any personality that will, wave you in, you'll wait this side, wait this other side. But yeah, I think I'm not so loud.
I think every other time we get those comments, like Shivo, I think you're the one who came to neutralize, your wife. And, but on the other side, guys are like, Shivo, you've changed. You don't look like it's Shivo. Like you said, I'm more of an introvert, more indoors, and my wife, time and again, I get to choose which events or hangouts that we're gonna participate in, because of my personality and nature. So I try and pick.
No, but he's cool when you're just meeting him, because sometimes I hear people describing him and I'm like, hold on, are you still talking about my husband or someone else? When he's in an easy place, he talks, but not so much. I think it's those people who choose that. He actually chooses his words.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's just reserved, right?
Yeah, he's reserved, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, but he's cool fun. He's cool fun.
That's how we behave.
Oh.
We want to scan you before we allow you in. Because once you're in, then you have access.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
But has Has there been pressure for you sometimes now when you're meeting people who are used to and who keep on feeling like you're too quiet? Are you bored? Are you okay?
I can't say there's pressure, but like the circle of our friends, there are those we have connected. It's about the connection, because when we meet and there's just a feeling. You can connect with someone and you cannot also connect with the person. So I can't say that there's that pressure that I'm too quiet. But there are some occasions where people feel that way, but it's not. Most of the time, I like to analyze. I usually not so just throw in words here and there and speak conversation like that. I try and just analyze and then be able to see at what point am I gonna, come in this conversation. But she has a, big, large cycle of friends, and God has helped me. God has helped me to connect with a majority of them, and through that, it has also helped me. Back we are still in different careers, so through the connection, it has also helped.
There's a talk. You mentioned at the beginning that you've got a great mentor couple that has helped you to wade through the waters. How important is it, especially in the initial years of marriage, how important is it to have people to just walk with you through the formative years?
Well, I thank God we have a program which prepares you for marriage, premarital classes. So once you're done with the classes, teaching you about communication and everything, all that, where you're assigned a mentor couple. And these are people we really looked up to in church and all that. And so from the dating to even our wedding, they've been with us, throughout. And there are people, even in the middle of the night, I can call and tell them things are not right. I'm not feeling this marriage. And there are people who will tell you, tuongea asubuhi, when you calm down. And sometimes they would call and I'm like, now what do I say? Because I'm not annoyed anymore. Yeah, it's important to have a mentor couple because I can't say we are there yet. We keep learning. You keep learning every day because now if there are people who've gone ahead of you, they'll tell you, this is how we did this. Of course, there are those that you'll be like, hey, this is high. We cannot get to this standard, but at least there's someone who's talked into your life.
And for me, I usually look at them in terms of their wisdom, and they help to put stuff into perspective, especially in marriage, the formative years. You get in there and the reality hits you. You want someone just to help put things into perspective for you to understand that, okay, we are not weird, like something like that. If to say
it normalizes the things that you're going through.
Yes, and they're really, there are those days when the conflict and you ask yourself, why am I in this marriage? And I just love how the way they reach out to us, and they can look at us and just say,
things are not okay.
Things are not okay. Even if you want to tell them things are okay, they tell you, no. We know you guys, things are not okay. Let's meet this day, such a time. Come, let's talk. And then when you talk, you find that when you share it out, the heaviness, you get.
And also, apart from them, we are also lucky to be surrounded by very great couples around us who we also consult, from time to time. I think it's good to put your marriage in check. The moment you think you know it all, you're there, then things can go wrong. It's good to be able to say that you're not okay. Yeah, that's what I think.
And different, like what she just to say, we have different couples. When we have challenges to do with a specific area, we know a couple whom to approach. if it's with finances, we know this is the couple that we employ because we connected with their values, and we find that we are so comfortable and at peace, just to open up to them, even parenting,
Talking about the kids, how did the coming of your children, I know you have two daughters,
Yes.
How did the coming of your daughters affect your marriage?
It did a lot.
First of all, I'll ask you, Edwin, were you disappointed that they were daughters?
No.
Okay. Well, sometimes some guys feel like they wanted to have a son.
Oh.
No.
He had so much fun with now our first-born daughter and
Yeah.
also the second-born one. I think one was the challenges that before conceiving that we had.
Yeah.
It was a push and show. I found out I had fibroids before we started trying to conceive, and before then, I think there was still pressure. Nilini, and we had committed to start maybe trying to get a baby after 2 years, but that's not the report everyone has. It's a conversation you had, but outside there. Yeah, I think the change into pregnancy and all that brought a friction, I think.
Maybe the initial times, just receiving the baby, not now just trying to adjust around the life of that baby. Our first daughter, there were a few challenges the initial days. Now this is a person in our household. But over time, through reading, through counseling, through mentorship, stuff like that, we've been able to victoriously go through. And right now we have that connection with our children. Like I used to work outside town, and I really thought it was affecting our time as a family. So I had to come back to Nairobi, and that has been the greatest moment in terms of for me as a father to the daughters, and even as a husband to my wife. Because we say that the children were a blessing. God bless us. We have so many other couple of friends who are also trusting God for children, but it was not possible. But through that season and time, we've just had a connection with them, and I can't say that it has affected our marriage. We still go on our dates, our hangouts, my wife and I.
So not really frequent as it used to be.
But there's that balance, because we see that there's the aspect we need to learn for our children, also learn for and for each other.
I want to ask that because there are a lot of women out there who complain their husbands are not doing anything. But the man feels like I need to be around my family. So they feel the man either is not doing anything or is not doing enough. How does the family first apply, and where do you draw the line between a man who values his family and a man who just won't do anything?
He does a lot, because I think that was the
Now,
second.
generally talking, just generally.
Yeah, he
For
does
the-
a
for the-
lot.
Okay.
Oh yeah, he does a lot, and what I think that did for us is that there are things that we could do together. When you get home, you not get home and there is no one home. You not wait, and assisting also with now with the daughter. I know that was the second time. I think before we got the babies, there's a point in time where he didn't have a job, but we still maneuvered, and that also brought in the connection we have together, because then I don't have to now think my husband is not around. He's gone. Yes, he's at work, but he's not here. For me, I think him being at home, that season was the best. We'd have our hangouts more. The baby would go to sleep. Sometimes you tell me, let's go out. We'll just go hang out, come back home. Because I think sometimes, and mothers would bear me witness, you can get into work, children, and sometimes forget yourself. But that connection where he supports you, that support also helps. And it really helped me, and it still does help to date. The fact that I can count on him, that if I'm not in the house and he's with the babies, they will be well fed, they will be well changed, those that need the diaper change and all that. He's good.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's all the time that I've had today with Edwin and Ann Shivo, talking about their story, you know, an amazing story, different challenges, regardless of who you are, regardless of how sure you are of who you want to marry. There will be those adjustments. I like to call them adjustments and challenges, but then you've got to be very deliberate about how you go about them. There'll be reasons why you feel like you want to jump out, but then there's always going to be, if you are intentional, there's always going to be a reason again for you to stay through it and work it out. As they say, they're not yet there yet, but they're a work in progress. That's all that you can do also. Just keep on working at it. Before you know it, you will be hitting 10, 15, 20, and 30 years. We've been coming to you from the hub in Karen. Come out and hang out over here. You can see the waters behind me, the fountains, and hear the sound of it in this open space. And of course, the mall has so many facilities, restaurants, and shopping areas that you could come in with your family, build yourselves, get your time over here. So that's all the time we've had right here on This Is Us and on Relationship Wednesday Life and Style. Chris Giatemo right here. Have a lovely day.